So just a super quick announcement before I start this video. Hopefully by now you've watched a series of my videos. Hopefully you like them. And this is kind of a weird thing to ask, but violin lessons, when I teach in real life, I usually charge $30 an hour for a violin lesson. And most of my teachers, they're older and have more experience. They'll charge $50 an hour. Some charge even upwards of that, up to $80 an hour for their lessons. These lessons online are free, but they come to you after 14 years of me going through violin lessons and learning all of these little things myself and paying for all those lessons. So if you would like to donate to your online violin teacher, she would very much appreciate it. I'm going through university at the moment, and a little bit of extra cash would be really helpful, of course, and would also inspire me to keep making these videos if I know that, people are appreciating it. Hey there! So just in case you forgot from the last video or you didn't watch the last video, I have paint all over my arms from painting houses today, so that's why there's weird colors all over my skin. Okay, to get into the actual video. So today I'm going to be teaching you about using your fingers on the violin and putting them in the right places, which is really difficult because the violin doesn't have frets like the guitar does. So this is where things get difficult, because I am not there with you. And normally when I'm teaching a student, got my bow in front of my face, sorry. Normally when I'm teaching a student first how to start using their fingers on their fiddle, what I will do is I will put little teeny tiny tapes on the violin underneath the strings on the fingerboard to show them where to put their fingers. And what that does is it allows them to play in tune, and they build up muscle memory. So after a while, they'll be able to take the tapes off and their fingers will remember where to go. Unfortunately, I am not with you and I can't put tapes on your fiddle, so I'm going to teach you how to do it for yourself. And it's going to be a little bit tricky. But here's where an online tuner or a tuning app or an electronic tuner that you can buy from the store is going to be essential to getting this right. So, here's what you got to do. First, make sure your fiddle is perfectly in tune. Second, actually, I don't know if this should be second or kind of like a precursor. This is the prequel to number one. Is that if you have played music before and you have a really good ear already, then maybe you won't even need the tapes because you can hear when you're out of tune. If you've never played another instrument and this is your first instrument and you're not sure how good your ear is, then you should definitely use the finger tapes to really understand how it should sound. That's what I wanted to say. Okay. So, now number two, you need an electronic tuner of some kind that will tell you exactly what note you're playing when you're playing it, and if it's a little bit too flat and if it's a little bit too sharp. I talked about that in my tuning video, have a look at it. Third, watch this video. Okay, so you know the names of the strings, E, A, D, and G. I'm going to try and beat that into you as much as possible until you've really memorized it. So every single one of the notes that you play on the fiddle has a name as well. And the names are pretty easy to figure out. If you're playing on the A string, that's what the A string sounds like. If you're playing on the A string and you put on your first finger, that's a B, because B comes after A. If you put on your second finger, guess what? That's a C. Third finger, D. Fourth finger, E. And oh wait, magic, the next string up is also an E, so you don't really need to worry about your fourth finger for now. That'll come later. So for now, you just got your three fingers Easy enough. The difficult part is the spacing in between them and understanding the sharps and flats of each note. And if you know a little bit about piano, it'll make things easier, but it's not essential. Okay, so now you know the names of the notes, or at least how to figure them out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab our tuner, we're going to find the A string, remember E, A, so it's the second string from the top. We're going to find the A string, we're going to put our first finger, this one, on the A string, and it should be a B. And play it for your tuner until it's exactly a B. Okay? And then you're going to want to slide a little piece of tape underneath your strings. Now the tape I use for this is actually for model racing cars. I go to the local hobby shop and buy it. It's the stripes that you put along the side of model racing cars. You can probably find other types, I don't know. Basically what you're looking for is really thin, brightly colored tape that you can see easily, and you don't want it to be, you want it to have a little bit of height to it just so you can feel it under the string. And how we're going to do this is, it's not like a guitar where the guitar has frets and you put your finger in between the frets. We're going to put a piece of tape down and you're going to put your finger on top of where that tape is. So grab my bow again. So I'm going to take a little piece of tape off. How is this going to work? Oh, I can rip it with my fingers. I'm stronger than I thought. Okay, I just moved the camera, sorry, so you can actually see this. Then what you're going to want to do is grab the tape, put the sticky end facing downwards, downwards meaning towards your fiddle, slide it under the bridge, and then kind of just bring it up underneath the strings in between the fingerboard and place it very loosely, kind of about there. Don't press it down or anything because we're going to need to make sure that's where it should go. So now that you've got your tape kind of placed in the very approximate area of where the B was on your fingerboard, then you're going to put your first finger down directly on top of the tape and look into your electronic tuner and tell you what note that it's saying. If it's saying that it's flat, you're going to want to move the tape up. If it's sharp, you're going to move the tape down. So I'm not using an electronic tuner because I can hear if it's in or out of tune, and I can tell that that's a bit flat. So I'm going to lift it up gently, slide it up, see how that sounds. So place my finger directly on top of it. Still a teeny bit flat to my ear. So lift it up again, bring it up a teeny bit more. That sounds about right. So that is where your first position finger goes. And then you can just fold down the wings over the edge of your fiddle. Okay, second finger. Second finger gets complicated. Here's why. When I play a second finger and I put it right next to my, my first finger, that's a C. If I slide my second finger up a little bit, that's a C sharp. And we're going to put the tape under the C sharp, not under the C. Just because then, if we put the tape where the C sharp is, where the high 2 is, this is what fiddlers call a high 2, then we know that the low 2, or the C natural, is right in between the first tape and the second tape. So we're going to actually put the tape where the C sharp is, and this will change how your tuner reads. Okay? Because you're going to want to be looking for a C sharp, not a C. Okay? And not, okay, I have to be careful with my words here. You're not looking for a slightly sharp C. You're looking for the actual note C sharp. And your tuner will tell you if you're a little bit above C sharp or a little bit below C sharp. So this is what it should sound like. I'm going to look, see where my 2 is in relation to my first finger tape. Have a look at that. Okay, I've got the general idea of where it is, so let's grab another piece of tape. I did a bad job putting that first finger tape on. Okay, this can be a learning. This can be a learning opportunity. See how I put the first finger tape in? It's kind of on a slant. That means that when I play a first finger down on my G string, it's going to be higher than my first finger down on my E string because it's kind of wonky. Make sure you put it flat. I'm taking these tapes off right after the video, so I'm being lazy. Okay, second finger tape. Time to grab another piece of hobbyist tape. There we go. Ripped it again. Gosh, I'm strong. On a roll today. Slide it up and under, just like you did before. Okay, and same process. See if it's in tune. That's way too sharp. Adjust it accordingly until it's a C sharp. Close enough. I'm not going to spend tons of time on this. Fold it down. Okay, last one. Last one is a D. So your D, you play it with your third finger. It's right next to your C sharp. You should feel your fingers touching. So, last piece of tape, I'm not going to do it on video. So you're just going to want to listen for your D on the tuner and then look closely or look approximately at where your finger is. Put a piece of tape under here, slide it down, put it about where you think it should go, put your finger directly over it, listen to it again in the tuner. If it's a little bit too flat, move the tape up the fingerboard. If it's a little bit too sharp, move the tape down the fingerboard until you can put your finger directly on top of the tape and have the tuner say that you're playing a D right in the center. And that is how you put finger tapes on your violin. I don't even need to be there. Look at that.